Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Suzumiya Haruhi. Now, for those that have subscribed recently, you guys will be a bit out of the loop as to, hold on, what's this? He's reacting to Suzumiya Haruhi? Yeah, I reacted to the first 8 episodes, and they're still on my channel, of course, otherwise why would I be reacting to this? But yeah, there was an issue, a very long hiatus, essentially, because there was an issue where Crunchyroll and Funimation basically split up. They were sharing libraries when they were partnered together and whatnot, but they split up, meaning that the libraries were no longer shared. The previous 8 episodes I recorded on Crunchyroll, and basically in order for me to actually watch it, I would have to use a VPN because it was only available in the United States as far as I can remember. And you know, it was fine. I was able to get through it, no buffering, anything like that, so it was fine. But then once they split, I had to go over on Funimation because, you know, the shared libraries were no longer a thing. Funimation was the only, you know, legal place I could actually watch it. Of course, I had to use a VPN as well, and that's a bit, you know, toeing the line in case of what's legal and what's illegal. But yeah, so I tried to use a VPN, but it would buffer all the time. And the way that I record is generally all in one file, which means that I record the episode footage and my reaction all in one file. Like, it's all the same thing. And because it buffered, it just, you know, it was just so much of a hassle, I couldn't do it. So yeah, it's been on hiatus for that long. Couldn't find another alternative, so I've just had to get the basically buy it off Amazon. And by the time that got here, it actually got here last week. Actually, for those who get it public, when this goes out to the public, it will have actually been 2 weeks ago, because obviously this is on like Patreon a week early. But yeah, last week I was ill, so yeah, I couldn't do it then, even though I had it last week. So but yeah, we're back. It's episode 9, and yeah, so let's get into it. So the last episode, Mikaru took Kyon back in time, basically to it was basically for like Mikaru's sort of assignment that she gets from herself. I believe she gets orders from her older self, with her being a time traveler and stuff. She get orders from her older self, and I think the point of it was to help Suzumiya end up going to North High, the school that they're in now, because everything else has to remain in the same like timeline and whatnot. So basically, she took Kyon back for that. Yeah, for that. There was also like downloading in like memory information. Yuki was doing that, which is cool. I like how she can just like scan that kind of stuff, and get a work around that way. There's also answers like questions like, oh, is Kyon from another dimension? I do remember that. I remember saying like Kyon's an odd one because he doesn't really seem like he could be just a normal human at times. Like he's maybe from another dimension or something like that, and he's just unaware of it. But yeah, so I think that is all we really need to catch up on. So I think we're just going to get in episode 9 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go.
七夕の時、憂鬱だった春日は期末試験期間中にステータスをメランコリー状態から回復させて、また好き勝手に振る舞うようになっていた。俺はといえば、その反作用で押し出されたブルー色をバトンタッチされたようなうつうつ真っ盛りだ。春日によると、SOS 団には休みというものがないらしい。試験期間中で部活動が中止されていた間も、部活でも何でもないこの謎の団はコンビニエンスストアのように年中無休で営業していた。ちょっ
とこれ見なさい。
何これ？
見てわからないの？
わからんね。全然わからん。
私の SOS 団のエンブレムよ。それよりこれを SOS 団サイトのトップページに載せようと思ってるの。
トップページしかないこのしょぼくれたサイトにか。
あんたの作ったこのサイトは訪問者が増えないのよ。遺憾を覚えるわ。賑やかすものが全然ないのよ。あんたが邪魔したせいよ。せっかくミクルちゃんのエロ画像で客を呼ぼうと思ったのに。さあ、キョン、このシンボルマークをサイトの頭に表示するようにしなさい。
お前が自分でしろ。
私は団長なの。団長は命令するのが仕事なのよ。それに私が全部やっちゃったらあんたたちのする仕事がなくなるでしょ。
なんだ。
What about telling Itsuki to do it? He doesn't seem to do anything. He just comes in and plays board games all the time, doesn't he?
ハルヒガーク様の真田虫風イラストを適当なサイズに縮小してからファイルに貼り付けアップロードした。くそいまいましい。せめて朝比奈さんを眺めて少しでも安らぎを得よう。俺は
I'll go.
ひゃーいと舌足らずな朝比奈ボイスを期待してドアをノックした。
どう
It's a
ぞ。
good invitation.
はーい。
なんだお前だけか。
ユキもいるわよ。
こいつは部屋の付属物みたいなものだから人数には入れなくていいのさ。
An
正式には
accessory.
人数だ。だがここに直しておくべきだろう。過剰
An
書きにした
accessory
ら
is strong.
それだけで A4 ノート両面はびっしり
Insulting.
埋め尽くされることになるぞ。
Yuki's my
ノ
favorite.
ックなんかするからてっきりお客さんが来たんじゃないかと思ったじゃない。
3年前のタラバタがどうとか言うつもりじゃないだろう
あんたがやったことじゃないの。私の許可も得ずにね。
な。何のことかな。
あんたが貼ったポスターのことよ。
ああそれか。
Somewhat remember what happened
実
3
は
years
か
ago,
つて
right?
俺は
Pretty sure
よ
she
ろず
would
悩
have
み
had
相談所とし
something
て
to say about it if she
SOS 団を存
actually knew
続
what
させる
to
べく生徒会に働きかけていた。
Counselling?
それより
That's what
これ
it's-
見てよ。なんか変なの。パソコンの調子が悪いの
That's what
か
they're
しら。
advertising it as?
SOS 団のエンブレムはギャザー処理されたみたいに歪んでいてカウンター
Jesus,
やタイトル
what the hell
を
happened
吹き
to
飛ん
it?
でいたりと俺が作ったものと微妙に違っていた。いつからこの状態
How'd
な
that
の？
happen?
さあ、今日見たらこんなだったのよ。どこにクレームつければいいの？
クレームをつけるまでもない。
I'd say logo.gif. Why would it be GIF?
お
Or
かしい
GIF,
でし
if
ょ。
it.
あれかしら、噂に聞くハッカーとかクラッカーとか。どうぞ。
おや珍しい。朝比奈さんはまだですか。
2年は余分に試験があるんじゃない？
ノックに対するツッコミを小泉に入れないというのはどういうわけだ。
Diamond Star?
朝比奈さんのお茶が待ち遠しいね。
Is that like Chinese checkers or whatever it is? There she is.
遅れちゃってごめんなさい。4次元目までテストがあって。
そう控えめに謝辞を告げながら現れたのは物質専用のエンジェル。朝比奈さん降臨。
たくさんを連れてきました。
She need counselling or something?
それとあなたは我が SOS 団に行方不明の彼氏を探してほしいというのね。
I was wondering what the fuck she was.
彼がもう何日も学校に来てないんです。電話してみた？携帯にも家の電話にも出なくて家まで行ってみたんですけど留守でした。誰彼氏って？いやです。誰だっけそれ？
Fuck's sake. God damn it, anime!
スタントは近所付き合いをしているように言ってましたけど、彼はコンピュータ系の部長を務めていますから。
Oh! Was that Yeah!
朝比奈さんへのセクハラ写真を撮る。
黄緑さん、あなたついてるわよ。依頼人第1号として特別にタダで事件を解決してあげるから。
She was planning on charging
驚
people?
きだったのかよ。
Oh, fucking hell.
黄緑さんとは親しいんですか？
一回も話したことなかったです。
相談するなら今日しか警察に言えばいいのに。いや、すでに言ったけれども相手にされず、それで SOS 団に相談を持ちかけたのか。そんな
Ignored?
ところだと
I
思
don't
う
know
ね。
about that. That seems a
あ
bit.
る日はこれを契機にもっと大々的に依頼を募集し、片っ端から解決することを考えているようだ。
よし。ここね。なんとか開けられないかしらね。
順序が逆
Great,
だろ。
Yuki will be able to get in.
管理人さんとこ行って鍵を借りましょう。友達が心配で来たって言えば貸してくれるわ。
お前はその手をよく使うな。
Yuki's just down there.
液体ヘリウムみたいな
Did you just
俺
open
を
this?
詰めていた。
Get in.
開いてたの？おかしいな。てっきり部屋の
What
片
you
隅で膝
doing?
を抱えて丸く
Jump
な
on
って
his
ると
bed
思
and
ってたの
shit.
に。
Also, that's a real picture on them.
2ヶ月遅れの5月病患者は他に来そうなところを知ってる？
中南米あたりを旅行中か、本気で行方をくらましているか。
出た方がいい。
そういや今日初めて声を聞いたな。
She was
僕
picking
交
up
換です。
something.
真面目な声を出すな。息を吹きかけるな。
閉鎖空間です。この部屋はあそこと同じような香りがします。
そういえばお前はマジな超能力者だったな。
次元断層が存在。お腹が空いたわ。本日はこれにて解散。
You just
お
ate.
い、事件はどうするんだ？
なんとかなるでしょう。じゃあね。
Yeah, great. Fucking
来
nice.
たらしい。
It seems a bit odd. Normally she's like all hyped up to solve the case.
この部屋の内部に 局地的非侵食性融合維持空間が制限モードで単独発生している。
部長さんの行方不明はその異常空間のせいですか？
そう。
What's that?
言うべきだった。
And now we're in the middle of the desert.
通常空間と重複、位相がずれているだけ。
閉鎖空間ではないようですが。
似て非なるもの。
So it's something
た
different
だし
and they
空
don't know
間
what
デ
it
ータの
is.
一部に鈴宮春日が発信源らしいジャンク情報が混在している。彼女がトリガーとなっただけ。
なるほど。
Alright.
そういうことですか。
So it only happened
俺
once
と
she
ウサギ
entered
のさん
then?
は蚊帳の外かよ。
お出まし。
It?
明確な敵意を感じますね。
What the fuck is
ゼロ
this?
は自分を守る術がありそうだが。
It's like in the dimensional spaces?
知らない人にはぜひ目の前の
Oh,
光景を見せてあ
fuck
げたい。
that. There's
何なんだこれは。
there's not many things worse than a fucking oversized
この
insect.
空間の創造主。
まさかこれも春日の仕業か。
原因は別。でも発端は彼女。
So it was created by something else, but she triggered it? Oh,
ここ
fuck.
では僕の力も不完全ながら有効化されるようですね。威力は閉鎖空間の10分の1。
男子生徒の脳組織を利用し、存在確率を高めようとしている。
ひょっとして部長さんはこの中ですか？
そのもの。
さっさとやれ。
了解しました。
Holy fuck! It's nice to see him like attack from like the ground to see what he's like capable of. You don't really get to see like the rest of his abilities, right? From before. Fuck's that? What? What is this? It's like a fucking RPG or something. Like Final Fantasy. Scarab. Oh, his eyes going out. Will he even remember anything or what?
空間も元の狭いワンルームに戻っていた。
He's gonna feel like he was in like
8000万年前のことになる。地球に降下したそれは、地球に自分が存在できるような手段がなかったため、自己保存のための冬眠についた。人間によってコンピュータネットワークが生み出されると、それは半覚醒状態となり、そして通常の数値では測り得ない異界の情報データによって目覚めた。
異界の情報データ、それは春日の書いた SOS 団のエンブレムだった。それがきっかけとなったようだ。
desires essentially, right? So
小泉は言うが俺は信じない。俺はただの普通人だからだ。だがここでもし春日の行動に全て裏があるとしたら、彼ら3人と同様に俺にもなんか知らんすっとんきょうな変な能力があるいは俺は何者なんだ。早い話、
who am
俺
I?
は SOS 団唯一の両親なのだ。結局あのカマドウマは何だったんだ。
情報生命体。
お前のパトロンの親戚か。
起源は同じ。だが異なる進化を遂げ、そして滅亡した。
おかしなことがある。
It's a long time ago for something to be
春
created
日が
though.
絵を
Like,
写している時もまたそもそも絵を完成させた時も何も起こらなかったぞ。
ここならとっくに異空間化していますからね。何種類もの様々な要素や力場がせめぎ合い、打ち消し合って飽和状態となり、それ以上溶け込む余地がないんです。
アクセスカウンターがなんと3万近くも回っていた。
how the
こ
fuck?
の情報生命体はハイパーリンクをあちこちに貼って増殖する。
It
最後
created
に見た人間の脳へ自情報を複写し、限定空間を発生させる仕組み。
正しい模様を見ちまったアホは8人、そのうち北方生は5人。助けに行く必要があるんだろうな。
It's weird that she just
すごいじゃない。
like left.
アクセスカウントが3万よ。やっぱり見てる人は見てるのよね。
ひょっとしてデータを破壊してくれたのはこいつではないのか。そして事件を持ち込んでくれた黄緑さん、聞けば部長氏曰く彼女はいないそうだ。この絵に描いたようなシナリオの中心にはいつも長門がいた。この万能宇宙人端末が黄緑さんをどうにかすることで俺たちに事件をもたらしたとしても少しも驚かない。依頼人ごっこで春日の退屈を少しでも解消させてやろうと
I
したのか
can't
もしれ
think of
ない。
like what's real and what isn't when he talks about this shit.
何かおかしなものを未然に防いだりしているんじゃないだろうなと。やはりお前にもあるのだろうか。一人でいるのは寂しいと思うことが。
Okay, episode 9 of Suzumiya Haruhi. Right, so I did say like in the reaction itself that I had watched like maybe like a quarter of this episode back when I was recording it week to week, because obviously, you know, I was talking about how it buffered and whatnot. So I did actually end up seeing like a quarter of the episode, but that was back then, so I couldn't remember a lot of it. But I did write down like a few notes from back then, and some of them, obviously, like I don't know what I wrote them down. I'm guessing obviously it must have had to do with like the subtitles have obviously changed from what they were in Crunchyroll to this. I wrote down Suzumiya apparently understands alien language. I don't know where I've gotten that from, because while I was watching there, I couldn't really determine what during that episode would relate to that. Apparently Mikuru has a lisp as well. I didn't see that. I did write down Yuki considered like an accessory more than an actual member, so I did write down that. And but yeah, that's fucking insulting because Yuki is my favorite member of the group. Even though, you know, yeah, she when she's in the room, she tends to do only one thing and not really acknowledge that anyone else is there. But which is great. Leave her alone. Logo.gif. Why was it a GIF file? I don't understand. Like, it's very odd to have a static picture not be a PNG or a JPEG file. Like, I don't know why it was a GIF file, but okay, whatever. I mean, I guess, you know, it can be a static picture of it once. Just an odd choice for to have that be the. I wonder if like in Japan they do that. Like if they use like GIF as a means to like, you know, to use as a static picture. I wonder. I don't know. It was interesting though, just having that there. It just kind of caught me off guard. They're going. They're basically advertising themselves as a counselling club, because I guess they couldn't get away with the actual. What they're actually doing is not club appropriate, I guess. So they'll have to put themselves up as something else. I guess it sort of kind of goes hand in hand then. Counselling would be needed if you came across any oddities and things like that. Yeah, we got introduced to Emery, who, it's like this show's like so. At some points, it's so tough to follow. I think it's on purpose, because of obviously Kyon specifically. The reason being is that he is seemingly the odd one out of the group, which is interesting in of itself, considering the fact that this show revolves around oddities, so time travelers, espas, pseudo aliens, and then Haruhi herself, almost like a god. And that he, being the human, is the odd one out, and yet we follow we're seeing things like through his eyes, so we know about as much as what he does, because obviously the information that we're getting isn't off in something else. Like the way this show is the way this show tells the story is through Kyon. Like, he's the one telling it, right? So you only ever get information when people are talking to him. So, you know, it's like, it's basically, it goes past that, and it's not only just talking to him, but it's also talking to you and giving you information, right? So we only know as much information as what Kyon knows, which means that when Kyon goes off on a tangent and basically starts talking like, oh, but wait, what if this was all scripted, and fucking and Suzumiya and Yuki is in on it, and they even got that Emery girl in to fabricate a story, and this was all supposed to happen the way that it was supposed to. It fucking confuses you, because like, I'm trying to think like, wait a minute, if this means one thing, what does it actually mean? But then if he's going on another thing and then basically saying like, oh, this was all like manufactured essentially, then it just completely throws you off, and I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know what's right, what's the correct thing, because at this point, it's still early on in the series. So, but I mean, that being said, I thought by last episode I was getting a sort of an idea. I was getting like almost like a concrete idea of what everything means, and how it all pieces together. But now we're getting even. But now with this and shit, like there's another dimensional place that is different because Itsuki and Yuki like basically got similar feeling about it that they did with the dimensional openings from the the things that they normally do. So they got similar feelings from it, but they said that it's different, and that it was only activated from junk data that traces basically from Suzumiya, and she's the one that triggered it. So I'm guessing like I thought it was originally like once she entered the room, that maybe like because obviously her being a god, it's like her just entering that space kind of caused it, but then that wouldn't make sense because he's been off school and absent for like 3 days or whatever, right? So that doesn't make sense. So it must have been there from 3 days ago, which is also odd considering the fact that apparently like later on they were saying that the logo was the cause. The logo like had like basically I think they mentioned that the people who saw, was it the original logo, or was it the one that like was all like degraded, like like the image quality had degraded? Is it the people who saw that? It was either one or the other, but yeah, but then I don't know at what point she actually. They only had the did they mention how like they didn't mention how many days had passed since the logo had been up, right? So yeah, I don't know then, because they didn't mention it, so I can't really gather like I can't really gather the information regarding that then. But yeah, apparently Emery was a good example from what I was saying before about how we see things through Kion's eyes and how it ends up being confusing because of that. Because he's talking about how if Emery went to like talk to this about teachers and like to the teachers and police, that they just ignored her, and that's the reason why she came here. It's like, what? It's a bit like I don't know, that wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? If a kid has been absent for 3 days, then surely fucking teachers should have police would be getting involved, especially if there hasn't been any word at all. You know what I mean? Like it can't be a case of time like it was with Yuki when, and I think it was last episode 8, where Yuki put Kion and Mikuru in a room, and then opened the room up like a second later, and like 3 years had passed or whatever, right? So it's not like a case of like, oh, it's like a time capsule thing because Emery came in. Now, the only way that would be the case then is if Emery is actually an oddity, and she's like, if she's able to, she must be a part of it then. Because if it wasn't scripted, like Con was possibly saying it could have been at the end, then then the only logical explanation would be that Emery is actually also like a pseudo alien. Because Yuki was saying that, oh yeah, it's similar. It's sort of similar to her being, right? It's like it was something similar, and if that's the case, then maybe that is able to basically make like a time, like a sort of time distortion, where inside is like longer than when it is on the outside. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, once they got in, Izuki says he only has 1/10 of his power in that space, which I like. Actually, I like seeing him sort of on the ground level, and using his powers like from there, as opposed to like flying up and then you only see like a little ball. I think it was. I can't remember because it was a while ago since I watched it, but he was off in the distance, right? So you couldn't really get a gauge as to what exactly he was doing. But watching him like sort of fight close up was cool, and Yuki as well because she's always great. The strange thing was Suzumiya literally left like right away, which completely goes against her, like what she does. Like, you know what I mean? She wouldn't normally do that, right? I think she has this thing where like, if it was that, like, she's not going to give up on that kind of thing because she looks for the oddities, right? She wants to have fun by this kind of stuff happening. She wouldn't just leave. She would surely investigate it further, right? She wouldn't just fuck off. So I don't know. That was interesting. That was a bit odd. And I don't know if that goes in hand with like maybe it was scripted at the end. God, I wish he hadn't said that because it completely fucking confuses me. Because I don't know what to think now. It's like in other shows when it's not primarily focused on one character telling it, and you get like different perspectives on something, you can kind of take all of those perspectives and notice the similarities between the different perspectives, and therefore your thoughts on it become more concrete, and you actually get a general idea, and you end up more closer to the answer than you normally would through this, where it's completely from one character, so you're limited in terms of like what the outcome would actually be, like, so what actually happened. And it doesn't help when the character's like, oh well, this happened, but what if this happened? So it's like, is he just spouting like nonsense? Which one am I supposed to believe? That's where it's hard. It's so difficult to get the outcome. Like, I don't know. Tough. But yeah, I don't know in like what case. Like, here's the thing, right? So that apparently the thing that created a dimensional rift in the room was an alien that came like 230 million years ago or whatever it said, which kind of doesn't add up, mainly because if all of this is specifically created because it's Haruhi's wish, right? She's the one that creates it unknowingly to her because she wishes for it, right? Now, because of how long she has been around, she hasn't been around since, well, at least not like from what we know anyway. She hasn't been around that long for it to have been created 230 million years ago or whatever it was. Unless it's a kind of thing where, because time travel is actually involved in this show, that maybe she's able to create something that technically is created in current time, but it sort of creates it's like it automatically creates like a trace back, so like it can almost seem natural and almost like she didn't create it, if that makes sense. Because it is odd to think like, oh well, it just came out of space and hibernated until computers came around and somehow it managed to sort of take computer data and make a sort of a new dimension, like an odd virtual space. Sort of in that regard, it does take a lot from Yuki, like, even though the fact that it's off-world, so it's automatically considered an alien anyway. So there's obviously that sort of similarity between the two, but the fact that, she deals with information, especially when it comes to computers and whatnot, like, that's where they sort of share the same space as all, like, virtual and all that. code comes from computers. So it would make sense that it would only be able to open up like a sort of virtual rift, because of computers, and that's it. Whereas like the sort of dimensional rift things that they were in before is not sort of related to that. It's not virtual per se. It's more like a natural phenomenon kind of thing, as natural as it can be. But but yeah. So yeah, a very odd one. I hope they carry on. Sort of like I hope they talk about it next episode and kind of delve deeper into what it was. Because I struggled to follow or get a lot of detail as to what it was, because it seemed like there was like multiple theories as to what it was throughout the episode. And again, like going back there, like the one, because we can only see it through Kion's eyes, he's explaining it in like different theories and whatnot. You can't really pick one and be like, oh well, it must be that, because it could be anything. So I hope like they get, you know, some questions answered about it. But anyway, yeah. But that is all for episode 9. So thank you for watching. In the description below, links to certain things. Discord, get yourself over there. I'm over there, so you can come and talk to me if you wish. My website, SirMonkeySuit.com. All of my content and all of that is over there, so make sure you get over there and become a member of that site as well, because you can post your shows and whatnot in the reaction recommendations page. It's on the forum. You know, the top 10 liked posts go into a pool, and then obviously the winner of that pool becomes the next show that I watch. Okay, so make sure you get those in there. And Patreon, I do have a Patreon. If you do want to support me, that would be very much appreciated. There's a bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's early access, $5 a month. That gives you access to the shows I do a week early. And for Fate, for the Fate series, you actually get 4 episodes a week as opposed to the usual 2. So you get more. So yeah, there's that. $10 a month. That's a full length. That means you get full unedited reactions to everything I do. Access to my full length library. Everything I react to gets a full length. $15, that's the exclusive tier. So that is in the middle of shows right now. Exclusive tier basically means you get a choice of, or you basically get access to another show that I'm reacting to. So it was Mob Psycho 100. It's currently in a pool right now to choose the replacement for that show. But just make sure, you know, go over and check to see what it is you might be interested in. $50, that's the elite tier. That gives you a choice of a show that you want me to react to, and I will react to it. It'll go to the back of the queue behind about 7 shows or whatever, but I'll get around to it eventually. Unless you want to jump the queue and go at the very front so that your show gets reacted to next, and you want to get God tier, which is $100. But that's it. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.